abolish it in the
Oh.
sense that it's not gonna be a board or committee of the city anymore, a nonprofit corporation. It's gonna be handled by leisure services.
Mayor Donald Hewitt.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Margaret Morales.
Present.
Councilmember Mitch Lindemann.
Here.
Councilmember Dalia Costa.
Present.
Councilmember Ray Shelton.
Here.
Councilmember Michael Bondenegro.
Present.
Councilmember Jose Grijalva.
Here.
Interim City Manager Ron Prince.
Present.
City Attorney Juan Pablo Flores.
Present.
City Treasurer Luis Pedrosa.
Present. Thank you. Item number 3, the purpose of the public hearing is to allow public participation in reference to the draft consolidated annual performance and evaluation report. CAPER. Ms. Gonzalez, do you have anything that you'd like to mention on this item? And then we'll open it up to the public.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Testing. I'll speak loudly. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The CAPER is a regulatory requirement of the CDBG entitlement grant. It's supposed to be submitted within 90 days of the closeout of our program year, but due to the COVID waivers this year, they offered an extension through December 31st, only because they didn't know how they were going to go about reporting the allocation of the CDBG coronavirus funds. So this is a report that we prepared for the program year.
Thank you. Any comments from the public and or council? We'll give it a couple of minutes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please.
If I may, once again, I want to thank Ms. Gonzalez for all that hard work and that she's doing, and it's a continuous thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
We'd all share that same sentiment. Thank you. You want to say something, young man?
No, okay.
Thank you. Last call for any comments or questions. Hearing none, we'll go to agenda item number 4, adjournment. May I have a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mrs. Morales to adjourn the special meeting public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? The ayes have it. Meeting adjourned at 5:39. We will, just for the public certification, we will reconvene to another special meeting public hearing in 5:45. Roll call, please.
Mayor Donald Hewitt,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Margaret Morales,
Present.
Councilmember Mitch Lindeman,
Here.
Councilmember Danny Acosta,
Present.
Councilmember Ray Shelton,
Here.
Councilmember Michael Valdenegro,
Present.
Councilmember Jose Grijalva,
Here.
Interim City Manager Don Prince,
Present.
City Attorney Juan Pablo Flores,
Present.
City Treasurer Luis Pedrosa,
Present.
Thank you. Item number 3, the purpose of the public hearing is to allow public participation pertaining to the substantial amendment to the annual action plan fiscal year 2019 and consolidated plan fiscal year 2019 through 2023. Ms. Gonzalez, do you have anything that you'd like to mention before we open it up?
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The purpose of this public hearing is to allow public participation for our proposed substantial amendment to our fiscal year 19 annual action plan and fiscal year 2019 to 2023 consolidated plan. It's a regulatory requirement of the CDBG entitlement grant for the allocation of additional funds that the city has received for COVID relief. We did present our proposed use of the funds at a meeting in October 28, 2020. And we did make the amendment available for public review and comment from December 4th until 5 p.m. today. No public comments were received.
Thank you. We'll open it up to the public and to the council. Last call for comments. Thank you. We'll go to agenda item 4, adjournment. I have a motion. Yes, Ms. Morales.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Shelton to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed by nay? Ayes have it. Motion carries. We stand adjourned. We will reconvene the regular meeting at 6 p.m. standing as we have our invocation by Pastor David Gonzalez. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Gonzalez.
Father, we come before you tonight, and we're just so grateful that we can gather here in this evening, Father. We ask that you would be with all who are present, Father, and those who are watching, that you would give wisdom and understanding, a discerning spirit. Lord, we pray for our city, we pray for our nation, for our state, Father. We just come before you to seek mercy and understanding, and again, your wisdom in all things. And so we give you this time this evening, Father, together in unity and understanding. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pastor, would you take a minute or two and tell us a little bit about yourself? I know a little bit about you, but would you please share that with the rest of the group?
Again, my name is Pastor David Gonzalez, born and raised in Douglas, graduated from Douglas High School in 1999. I've been a pastor now for going on 6 years. Passing our second year with First Baptist, where I was pastoring with Pastor John Hobson. We're getting ready to celebrate 120 years in Douglas for First Baptist Church. It's a huge milestone, and it's an honor to be part of that. I've been able to grow up and watch what Douglas has been, what it has become, and really the future that can be held here in Douglas. There's a lot of promise, and really I think there's a lot of hope for Douglas as a community. I'm honored to be here tonight, and I just really appreciate the opportunity to share with you guys a little bit. Again, born and raised in Douglas, and very proud to be a member of this community.
Thank you, Pastor, and we thank you for helping the citizens of Douglas.
Thank you.
It's without all of you guys, we wouldn't be as good as we are.
Appreciate it.
And we're going to get better.
Thank you. God bless you guys.
Thank you. Item number 4, roll call.
Mayor Donald Hewish.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Margaret Morales.
Present.
Councilmember Mitch Lindemann.
Here.
Councilmember Dania Costa.
Present.
Councilmember Ray Shelton.
Present.
Councilmember Michael Valdenegro.
Present.
Councilmember Jose Grijalva.
Here.
Interim City Manager Don Prince.
Present.
City Attorney Juan Pablo Flores.
Present.
City Treasurer Luis Pedrosa.
Present.
Thank you. Item number 5, persons wishing to address the council in writing or verbally on any item not on the agenda. Ms. Odette?
We do not have any public participation requests, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Item number 6, by the way, thank you for being here this evening. It's good to see you. It's good to see you at home or wherever you may be also. Item number 6, presentation of awards, local business recognition by Mayor Pro Tempore Margaret Morales. Mrs. Morales?
Thank you, Mayor. In continuing to recognize our businesses that have been in Douglas for a long time, I want to thank you for your continued leadership, commitment, and support to the city of Douglas. And I have several businesses I'd like to recognize tonight. For 5 years, I'd like to recognize Diane Photography. 5 years also Pivot Sports. Congratulations, and I will. You'll stick with me. And then for 5 years also the Special Rose. Yes, fine, please. For 10 years of service, I have LP's Dance Studio. For 30 years of service, I have Barbara's Boutique. I'd also like to recognize Ms. Christine Gomez. Yes. Congratulations. And for 30 years also, Passions Are Us.
Hope you can all notice that there's 4 ladies up here.
Congratulations.
One more. For our own records.
All right.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
We'd like to invite Dr. Christine Gomez to share a few words at this time. Dr. Gomez?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. I appreciate this very much. I just, so I came back in '91, and my dad and I started alternating paying of the water bill. And so I don't know if you all know, the water bill is still in my dad's name, because when he retired, I asked if I could put it in my name. They said, Gomez, you got to put a deposit down. I said, you've been cashing my checks for 10 years. Forget it. About another 10 years go by. Gomez, no, you got to put a deposit down. Think I should have a little credibility with you guys that I'm not going to skip town on my water bill. So if you could please consider, I'm joking, but at the same time, government should work for the people, not against them. So please consider my request to get my name on my water bill. Thank you.
Thank you. So we put it on a certificate, surely we can put it on a water bill.
That is, I got it right in here.
Yeah.
And just so you know, Dr. Gomez, I still pay my father's bill for the very same reasons.
Right? It's the principle.
12 years after he's resting in Calvary. So.
Now, I have one comment too. They
Uh-oh.
need, if they put it in your name, they need to give his deposit back.
That was before deposits. That was
Well,
maybe we still have his cow that he back then. But thank you. The Gomez family has been providing that service for our community for many, many years, and it's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 7, discussion decision on approval of consent agenda items. Item number A, expenditures for the month of November 2020 totaling $2,668,049.96. B, approval of meeting minutes for October 21, 2020. C, approval of liquor license series 09 for Spirits and More located at 730 F Avenue. And D, approval of liquor license series 10 for Douglas Chevron located at 461 Pan American Avenue. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I recommend that we approve the consent agenda items as listed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, seconded by Mrs. Morales to approve the consent agenda items. If I may take a moment to reference the item C and D, which are liquor licenses. My understanding is that they're transfers to new ownership, just for the edification of the public.
Mr. Mayor, yeah, one is a transfer and the other one is a new one that did not come to fruition from that same owner.
Okay.
It is new.
So that's the one at Spirits and More located at 730 F Avenue for clarification. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8, discussion decision on approval of second reading of ordinance number 20-1123, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the sale of a semi-improved parcel of land located at the southwest corner of 9th Street and H Avenue, lots 30 through 32, block 84 of Douglas Town Site, as parcel number 409-07-048 to Leslie Harold Blank III Trust, pursuant to terms entered into by the parties, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Mr. Pedrosa, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Today is the second reading for your consideration for the sale of the unimproved lot located on 9th Street and H Avenue. Mr. Harold Blank approached the city of Douglas, interested in expanding his operations for the art car world. He would like to utilize the space for parking. And so happens that the city owns that space right across the street from his location. We presented a price that was fair market value price compared to other sales, and Mr. Harold Blank accepted that price. He has deposited his earnest money in accordance to the agreement, and is interested in moving forward. The city would obviously do some cleanup work in that lot first to make sure that it's right where it used to be, and conduct some surveying as well. So with that said, Mayor, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I recommend that mayor and council approve the second reading of ordinance number 20-1123 and place it on third reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Valdenegro to approve the second reading of ordinance number 20-1123 and to place it on third reading by number and title only. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries.
an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the sale of a semi-improved parcel of land located on the southwest corner of 9th Street and H Avenue as lots 30 to 32, block 84 of Douglas Town Site as parcel number 409-07-048 to Leslie Harold Blank III Trust, pursuant to terms entered into by the parties, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Item number 9, discussion decision on approval of second reading of ordinance number 20-1124, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, confirming certain modifications, Title 8 of the Douglas Municipal Code related to health and safety by amending ordinance 461, 465, 548, 810, 10-977, and 18-1080 under Chapter 8.04, regulating alarm systems, establishing severability of components of ordinance, and establishing an effective date thereof. Chief Ford, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. The proposed changes that were included in the first reading have since been modified after some further research, which was prompted by the discussion during the first reading last month. Part of that discussion was how many alarm responses we actually provide. Going back to 2018, we had 344 calls. 2019, there were 308. And so far this year, we've had 394 calls for false alarms. And just by way of some explanation, alarm companies provide the equipment at little or no cost to the consumer or to the customer, and then they provide a monitoring service. In the event of an activation, the alarm service notifies police to respond without really our agreement or compensation. Essentially having police execute an extension of their service, if you will, on behalf of the taxpayer. So in looking at the language that was initially proposed to Mayor and Council last month for your consideration, and in addition to that research, some of the key takeaways were permit requirements do not necessarily reduce the number of false alarms, which the ordinance, as previously proposed, was intended to address. Permit requirements are meant to aid us in the enforcement by providing homeowners and alarm service providers information, both of which we can obtain through other means, primarily at the time of the call of the alarm. The permit fees that most municipalities charge are also meant to offset the administrative costs with managing and overseeing the permitting process. Because we don't charge for residential alarm permits and we're only charging $30 for commercial alarm permits, we are not recouping our costs. Regulation involves annual renewal notices sent via mail, the reporting, tracking, and the notices to property owners for false alarms, notices of suspension and assessment of fines. Similarly, the fee and fine that are placed against the property owner or alarm companies for false alarms are also intended to provide a level of sanction to prevent future false alarms, as well as offset the costs for police response. Under the current consolidated court agreement, all fees and fines are forfeited to the county, so we won't realize those recouped costs through that mechanism either. So what we proposed, or what I propose in the language before you tonight, helps to streamline the process and place a responsibility for proper alarm use with the property owner and the alarm company. It eliminates the permit requirement and associated administrative burden for us, the police. It allows for up to 5 alarm responses within a year's time without fee or fine. It will suspend police response for the 6th or subsequent alarm unless the alarm service provider or property owner is able to verify the existence of criminal activity or other actual emergency by way of either audio or video from the alarm system, eyewitness report, multiple zone activations, or owner-employee verification. As part of that, our robbery, panic, hold-up alarms are exempt. We'll continue to respond to those regardless of the amount of false alarms. Utility disruption, acts of God are not counted against the 5 false alarms. Cancellation by the alarm company or the property owner prior to police arrival are not counted as well. And it also includes an appeals process for the property owner to challenge any of the 5 prior responses that were deemed false alarms, as well as an opportunity to provide proof of repairs for a problem system in order to continue our police response without the secondary verification requirement. So that's what you have before you this evening.
Thank you very much, Chief. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Morales.
I move that the mayor and council approve the second reading of ordinance number 20-1124 and to place it on third reading by number and title only with modifications as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mrs. Acosta, to approve the second reading of ordinance number 20-1124 and to place it on third reading by number and title only with modifications as presented this evening. Discussion and questions. Mr. Lindeman?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I want to thank you, Chief, for taking a hard look at this and coming up with these. I think that will satisfy most of my questions and concerns, and I think that this puts the responsibility where it is supposed to be, and still, I think it gives relief from the for the police department, to not have to be chasing around all the time. So I thank you very much for this. I think that this will remedy a lot of those problems. I did want to ask you though, did you break down the false alarms for businesses and residences?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Lindeman, I did not. But that would be the total alarm responses that we had.
Okay. I'm just wondering how many are, the false alarms are checked by people wandering around businesses downtown or as opposed to residences. My main gist was, of course, to not put the responsibility on a homeowner when they don't know if it's a stray dog running around or, you know, or something, but still want to be protected. But I think this does it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Any other questions or comments?
Mayor?
Yes, please, Mr. Grijalva.
Chief, you mentioned that it's going to be 5 times, you know, and then you'll start assessing basically a fine. How much is that going to be every false alarm after the 5th time?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Grijalva, we are not looking to assess a fine or fee. What we're looking to do is place that responsibility back on the alarm company and the property owner by way of suspending our response unless there is a secondary verification that there is an actual criminal act occurring or other emergency requiring our response. So after the 6 subsequent false alarm, we will not respond unless they can tell us, yes, by audio, video, there is somebody on premises who shouldn't be there, an eyewitness account, or multiple activations of sensors for the alarm company. By doing that, again, it holds the alarm service providers accountable for faulty equipment, as well as the property owners responsible for making sure that they are operating the system properly.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Shelton.
Yeah, maybe you said this. How many cases were there 5 last year? Maybe you saw those figures, maybe it passed by me. How many of those were last year, say 4 or 5?
Mr. Mayor.
The same ones.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Shelton, I did not break down the number of alarm systems involving 5 or more, but I can tell you, and actually back to Mr. Lindeman's earlier question, a number of our repeat alarms are to commercial properties because of faulty alarm equipment, whether it's a loose connection on the door, whatever the case might be. It might be an animal moving around inside the premises, a bird, a cat, whatever the case might be.
Lightning?
As far as an act of God or a utility failure like a power glitch, we do get those as well. But by and large, I would say just top of mind, we probably had 3 or 4 commercial properties where we were there almost daily around the same time for the same reason.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Mayor, just want
Yes,
to
please.
make sure that I clarify that this, there is an option for residences or commercial property owners to actually cancel the alarm before the police show up. So then that's something that Chief Bullard mentioned that then the police would not show up for response on those. So those are not a part of the number of responses that are listed as problematic.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindeman?
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro?
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, confirming certain modifications, Title 8 of the Douglas Municipal Code relating to health and safety by amending ordinances 461, 465, 548, 810, 10-977, and 1810-1080 under Chapter 804, regulating alarm systems, establishing severability of components of ordinance, and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Item number 10. Discussion decision on approval of first reading of ordinance number 20-1125. An ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the acceptance of donated, unimproved real property from Mount, is that Mount or Montana? So it's just straight up MT. MT Development LLC, identified as blocks 3 and 4, consisting of 92 lots in the La Parrilla Estates in the city of Douglas, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Mr. Pedrosa, please.
Thank you. Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Mr. Ray Meehan of MT Development approached the city of Douglas, was interested in donating 82 lots located on blocks 3 and 4 of Rancho La Feria Estates. We know those as that area that is south of our golf course. Currently, lots 1 and 2 are currently developed with some homes there. Block 3 has 53 lots and Block 4 has 29 lots. The lots are semi-improved. We currently have back taxes of $8,624.50 altogether. And there is additional interest that gets calculated at $92.90 per month. So Mr. Meehan approached the city with the intent of donating. He is no longer interested in developing those lots. Within our talks with Mr. Meehan, we agreed that it was right that he accept some of that cost for the property tax and negotiated that he absorbed half of the property taxes while the city paid the other half. And we also saw it as an opportunity to extinguish the existing legal settlement that we had with Mr. Meehan, where he had a waiver of impact fees for the development of blocks 1 and 2. So we traded that property tax value, and each sewer impact fee cost is $2,100 each. So total would be $4,200 that he would be paying us in impact fees in exchange for his value of those property taxes. Blocks 3 and 4 are, like I mentioned, semi-improved. Blocks 4 actually have the stub outs to the property for water and sewer infrastructure. So those are pretty much ready to go with water and sewer. Block 3 have a water and sewer main running through that area, but do not have the stub outs to each lot. We understand that electrical and gas is also nearby and very accessible. The size of each lot is about 0.1 to 0.3 acres. Total assessed valuation, approximately each lot is about $5,000 according to county records. So we're looking at about $410,000 value altogether. And with that in mind, the city has already been approached by a potential developer that can come in and possibly work with the city to build some homes. That's obviously something that we've spoken about and are interested in bringing that to Douglas. It's something that's very needed. So the intent is to work with a developer right after receiving these donations, if that's the council wishes, to develop these into some future homes.
Thank you, Mr. Pedrosa. Is there a motion?
Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Valdanero.
If the mayor and council approve the placement of ordinance number 20-1125 on its first reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Valdanero, seconded by Mrs. Acosta, to approve the placement of ordinance 20-1125 on its first reading by number and title only. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Grijalva?
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the acceptance of donated unimproved real property from MT Development LLC, identified as blocks 3 and 4, consisting of 92 lots in La Peria Estates in the city of Douglas, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve?
Mayor,
Yes.
is it 82 lots or 92? I heard it was 82 at first.
It's 53 and 29. So 82.
82,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Is that correct? I don't want to misspeak.
Yes.
May I have a motion to approve the first reading?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Costa?
I recommend that mayor and council approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-1125 and place it on second reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Shelton, to approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-1125 and place it on second reading by number and title only. Any discussion?
I think that's a great deal.
For the record, Mr. Shelton thinks it's a great deal.
That's true. That's a no-brainer.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Grijalva?
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the acceptance of donated unimproved real property from Empty Development LLC, identified as blocks 3 and 4, consisting of 92 lots in La Peria Estates in the city of Douglas, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Item number 11, discussion decision on approval of first reading of ordinance number 20-1126, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, amending Title 12 of the City of Douglas Municipal Code relating to light pollution by amending the table that appears in section 12.32.100, establishing severability of components of the ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Mr. Gardner, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. As noted, this is a very minor change to the city's light pollution code, which is intended to regulate exterior lighting in a way to protect neighbors and the public from potentially noxious lighting. So the table in question tells us whether or not an exterior light needs to be shielded or screened in a way to capture the light on an individual property. It is very good with the exception of some missing technology. This has not been updated in some time, and the code does not directly regulate regulates incandescent, but not compact fluorescent or LED light bulbs. So when we get a complaint about these and whether or not they need to be correctly shielded, it's left actually to staff discretion, because there's a line at the bottom that talks about the zoning inspector determination for technologies not covered. This has come up. I have made a determination to treat them the same as an incandescent light bulb of the equivalent power, and that's all we're doing is asking to codify that interpretation, and that way we don't have to make a staff call every time.
Excellent. Thank you. May I have a motion?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Linden.
I move that the mayor and council approve the placement of ordinance number 20-1126 on its first reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lindeman, second by Mr. Baldanegro, to approve the placement of ordinance number 20-1126 on its first reading by number and title only. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro?
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva?
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you. We know why. Thank you.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, amending Title 12 of the City of Douglas Municipal Code relating to light pollution by amending the table that appears in section 12.32.100, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the first reading?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Linden.
I move that the mayor and council approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-1126 and to place it on second reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lindeman, seconded by Mr. Shelton to approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-1126 and to place on a second reading by number and title only. Any discussion? Mr. Shelton?
No, that's good. Thank you. We all,
Thank you.
several people know why.
Thank you very much. Hearing none, roll call please.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, amending Title 12 of the City of Douglas Municipal Code relating to light pollution by amending the table that appears in section 12.32.100, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Item number 12, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 20-1447. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, abolishing certain outmoded city of Douglas-based committees and boards to include Douglas Housing Corporation 2, Youth Activity Fund Committee, Cemetery Committee, Library Committee, Douglas Health and Wellness Advisory Committee, and reassigning duties of the Design Review Board to the Board of Adjustments. Ms. Andrade?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. What you have in front of you is pursuant to the presentation that was presented to you back in October of 2020 regarding some of the committees that were inactive and the possibility of abolishing some of the committees. With that, the current the creation of some of the committees and or boards can be abolished by ordinance or resolution. That's why you have the resolution in front of you. And pursuant to the city charter, Article 5, Section 1, council may, like I said, adopt or create or abolish some of the committees. And the following list are the ones that are inactive. Therefore, Cemetery Committee, Douglas Health and Wellness Advisory Committee, Douglas Housing Corporation 2, which was the Pioneer Village, Library Committee, Municipal Art Committee, and also the city planner recommends reassigning the duties of the Design Review Board to the Board of Adjustments, and that an ordinance issued in the near future on the assignment of the duties dealing with the City of Douglas zoning code is recommended. And with that, we have the resolution for your approval, and I can entertain any questions.
Is there a motion?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Lindeman.
I move that the mayor and council approve resolution number 20-14447.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lindeman, second by Mrs. Morales, to approve resolution number 20-1477. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Lindeman.
I want to thank Ms. Andrade for doing all that work. It was very diligent. And this is something that I've been thinking about for many, many years, to streamline our government operations, and ultimately that will benefit the taxpayer. And so I'm glad to see that this is coming through, and I want to thank her for all that work.
Thank you, Mr. Lindeman, for expressing that. Any other questions or comments?
Mayor?
Yes, please, Mr. Grijalva.
I just wanted to quickly say, now that these committees are going to be abolished, I hope our community is actually more energized to be participating in like the cemetery or the library and the issues there, since it won't be restricted to a committee. So I hope our community, and also we as a government body, provide that invitation to our community to be a part of it also.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please.
I just wanted to add and just clarify for the council that should there be a need for these or any other boards in the future, whether that be ad hoc or ongoing boards, the council certainly enact one of those boards at that point in time.
Thank you. I have a procedural question, and I apologize to no end for missing it. I'm hoping I'm missing it. In the title, it talks about the cemetery, but in the body, it does not. And I don't know if I'm missing something there or not. I don't know if Mr. Flores can help me with that or someone?
Yes, Mayor, I just spotted that, but in addition to what you noticed, I noticed the title does not have the art committee on it. So I would suggest the following. Let's withdraw the second, withdraw the first, and then we'll do it all over again. And we will read out specifically all of the different committees that are going to be abolished. And so the only one missing from the title, I think, is the art committee. And so if we can redo that motion with all 6 of those committees, and I'll check them off as they mentioned, we would be able to get accomplished what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay, just to be clear, Mr. Flores, so included in the motion to approve the resolution, we would include those, specifically those 6.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll do the typo fix before the resolution is signed, so everybody knows. Mr. Lindemann, would you like to handle that?
Yes, would you like me to withdraw or add on?
Yes, Mr. Morales and Mr. Lindemann, would you be willing to withdraw your motions?
Yeah, I'll withdraw.
So the motions have been withdrawn. We'll accept a motion on agenda item 12, please.
A point of order here.
Yes, please.
Mr. Flores. I only see 5 committees here that are listed in my background.
Correct.
The cemetery is missing.
The cemetery.
The cemetery is the one that's missing.
I thought you mentioned the art committee.
That's missing out of the title. So
Well, the cemetery committee is here listed. There's still only 5.
in the title.
The title is here.
In the title, cemetery is listed, and
Okay.
art, and in the body of our information, in the body of the thing, there's no cemetery, there's art.
All right, so your motion to include,
Let's go ahead and do this. You're going to move to abolish all the ones on that, on the number 12, and we're going to add to that the arts committee.
okay, so moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve resolution number 1447, which includes the abolishment of the cemetery committee, Douglas Health and Wellness Advisory Committee, Douglas Housing Corporation 2, Pioneer Village, Library Committee, Municipal Art Committee, and Cemetery Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lindemann, second by Mrs. Morales to do all those fun things to make us more efficient, and we appreciate your patience. With that, everyone in the public, any discussion? Hearing none, if you'll go that way, we'll have roll call.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Calva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, thank you for that. Again, we apologize for that. And just again, to clarify that, it's the Cemetery Committee, Douglas Health and Wellness Advisory Committee, Douglas Housing Corporation 2, Pioneer Village, Library Committee, Municipal Art Committee, and
Youth activity.
Youth Activity Fund Committee. Thank you, Mr. Valdenegro. So that's to clear all that up, sort of. But thank you. Item number 13, discussion decision on approval of first reading of ordinance number 20-1127. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, partially reassigning duties of the Board of Adjustments to the Planning and Zoning Commission by amending ordinance number 352-659, 702-04-862, and 14-1034 as to Article 11 of the zoning regulations, and amending ordinance number 700 and 35-881 as to Article 3 of the zoning regulations, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Mr. Gardner, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I do have a couple of brief slides here to help explain this item a little bit more. In development services, we issue permits based on a zoning category. Permits are generally used as an automatic issue. You want to build a house in a residential zoning, you simply meet the criteria, you get your permit. You want to open a retail business in a business district, you get your permit. But we have some things called conditional uses, and those are ones that are a little more complicated, require a little more review and discretion. So they require us to look at both a specific application and a specific location and decide whether or not these things are approved or denied. Some examples are child care centers, recycling centers, RV parks, cemeteries, schools, and accessory dwelling units. For instance, with a child care center, if it's a small one, it may be appropriate in a residential neighborhood. It may be appropriate in a business district, or maybe not, because maybe it's next to a recycling center or something else that we don't want a congregation of children nearby. So these do get reviewed on a discretionary basis. Currently, our zoning regulations have them done by the Board of Adjustments. This is highly unusual. Most jurisdictions have them done by the Planning and Zoning Commission. There are some legal reasons for that that are a little dicey, but also it's just kind of tradition that the folks that review the zoning ordinance are also the ones who make the interpretations of whether or not these belong in the right place. So we did ask the Planning Commission how they felt about taking these back from the Board of Adjustments, and on a 5-0 vote in October, they said they'd like to have them back, that they're really the more appropriate body to review them. Staff does concur with this. Again, this is the way they're normally done. Board of Adjustments have a very specific role to look at waivers from the code as opposed to applying the code itself. So both the Planning Commission and staff recommend this change of just shifting which body reviews these conditional uses, taking them from the Board of Adjustment and putting them over to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I hope I've given you enough information without giving you too much information, but I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. May I have a motion to approve the placement?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Acosta.
I recommend that mayor and council approve the placement of ordinance number 20-1127 on its first reading by number and title only.
Is there a second? Second. Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Baldenegro to approve the placement of ordinance number 20-1127 on its first reading by number and title only. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Lindemann, please.
First of all, I want to thank Mr. Gardner for taking a hard look at this and bringing us up to date with general usage of this item. And also, I think this is going to go a long ways to streamline our government again and put it for the taxpayers and the citizens. It's a lot easier for them to get what they need or what they require. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lindemann. Very well put. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann?
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro?
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, partially reassigning duties of the Board of Adjustments to the Planning and Zoning Commission by amending ordinance number 352, 659, 702, 04-862, and 14-1034 as to Article 11 of the zoning regulations, and amending ordinance number 735-881 as to Article 3 of the zoning regulations, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the first reading?
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Acosta?
I recommend that mayor and council approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-1127 and to place it on second reading by number and title only.
Is there a second? Mr. Grijalva, was that you? Thank you. Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Grijalva to approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-1127 and to place it on second reading by number and title only. Any discussion? Questions? Miss Becky, you're awful quiet back there.
I have something to say,
Okay, thank you. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Grijalva?
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Mayor votes yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, partially reassigning duties of the Board of Adjustments to the Planning and Zoning Commission by amending ordinance number 352, 659, 702, 04-862, and 14-1034 as to Article 11 of the zoning regulations, and amending ordinance 735-881 as to Article 3 of the zoning regulations, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Mr. Gardner, please accept our heartfelt thanks for being here this evening. I know it's a difficult time for Rowena to make your personal items public, but Mr. Gardner's grandmother passed recently, and I'd like to take this opportunity to have a moment of silence and on behalf of this fine woman. Thank you, Mr. Gardner.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Item number 14, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 20-1444. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, approving the City of Douglas Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report for fiscal year 2019-2020. Ms. Gonzalez, please.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, good evening. Regulatory requirement of the CDBG entitlement grant. We are to submit a performance report for each year's grant monies. And if we met our objectives using the funds, typically due 90 days after the close of the fiscal year. This year was an exception due to COVID, and it is due to credit by December 31st, 2020.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. May I have a motion?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Baldenegro.
that the mayor and council approve resolution number 20-1444.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Baldenegro, second by Mrs. Acosta, to approve resolution number 20-1444. Any discussion or questions? Thank you. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 15, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 20-1445. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, approving the substantial amendment second to the fiscal year 2019 annual action plan and 5-year consolidated plan 2019 to 2023 for the city of Douglas. Ms. Gonzalez, please.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is the second amendment to the fiscal year annual action plan and consolidated plan for 2019-2023. The first amendment was for the first allocation of coronavirus relief funds that the city received. That was approved by the governing body in August of this year. The second amendment is for the third round or third tranche of funding. The city is set to receive an additional $98,938. And this is the plan to include that allocation of funds.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Valdenegro.
that the mayor and council approve resolution number 20-1445.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Baldenegro, second by Mrs. Morales, to approve resolution number 20-1445. Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Item number 16, discussion decision on approval of resolution number 20-1446, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, approving and adopting the updated Title VI 2020 implementation plan in conformance with the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, and the Americas with Disability Act of 1990, ADA, for the City of Douglas Transit System for the current grant cycle. Mr. Pedrosa, please.
Mr. Mayor, this is a housekeeping item as part of our 2-year grant application with ADOT. We have to comply with civil rights and develop an implementation plan as to how we will govern these issues if they were to come up while folks are riding the bus. We made some small adjustments to certain descriptions and certain trainings that we received, and this is ready for your approval.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Costa.
I recommend that Mayor and Council approve resolution number 20-1446.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Shelton, to approve resolution number 20-1446. Discussion, questions? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro?
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva?
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 17, informational items and reports from council and future agenda items request. Mr. Grijalva?
Thank you, Mayor. Last month, we gave some recognition to the food bank, and I want to thank Alex from the Blueberry Cafe and Desiree from Classy Cuts and such. They went and they volunteered that month for the commodities days, and I know it sounds like, only 2 people, but those 2 people made the world of difference for the effectiveness to hand out food. I also want to thank Bruce Witten and the Herald for the publicity on that. And I want to thank the department and also the Douglas Fire Department. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Grijalva. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mrs. Morales, please.
I just wanted to thank you, Ms. Prince, Jennifer, Militia Department, and all the staff that worked very hard to put up the tree at the 10th Street Park. It was a success, and we've all attended, the parade we've all attended, so I just want to thank the staff for all their hard work and dedication. Thank you. Hopefully next year will be better.
No doubt. Thank you. And just by way of information, Ms. Andrade was the lead from the leadership team on that project.
Yes,
So it was good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. I'd like to take a brief opportunity to thank the public for last Saturday evening. As Ms. Morales said, I was impressed by the parade route. I was first impressed by the number of people that we had come join us at the tree lighting ceremony for that ray of hope that was there. And I appreciate that they were all spread out and throughout the park, and so that was very good. They're for the most part all covered up, which was good also. And then on the parade route there was, and I'm not exaggerating because I'm not a person to exaggerate, but there were thousands, plural, along the parade route, and for the most part they were in their vehicles or separated, and it was a wonderful thing to see our community come together and celebrate this joyous time of year. And if you haven't read the article, and I'm sorry, I'm still going to call it the Douglas Dispatch of the Herald, written by Mr. Wetton. It's a very fine article and shows the true nature of our community. And so again, thank you, and thank all the members of our community. It was I saw that they were behaving, and not that I told myself not to use that word. I'm sorry. I am truly, truly sorry for using that word. You were acting like you should be acting and looking out for your neighbor and doing those things that were necessary. It was truly gratifying, and then to be able to honor some of the healthcare people in our community that sacrificed so much this year. It was a wonderful event. And in spite of trying to avoid Mr. Baldanego's house on the way in the parade route for his, for various reasons, it was a great event. The Haven also were very grateful for us to stop by and help shine a little bit of ray of hope for those people that don't get out much and haven't had much visits this year. So I appreciate that. Item number 18, city manager reports. Ms. Prince?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. I have 3 reports tonight. The first one is to give you an update on the City Hall landscaping. As some of you may have seen the work that we're doing on the 10th Street side on the landscaping in front of our City Hall and wondered what's going on. We wanted to provide an update on this exciting project. With the support of you, Mayor and Council, we're in the midst of a momentous occasion. We are actually reviving our landscaping and bringing back a piece of Douglas by reinstalling grass and raised planters and rose bushes in front of our City Hall. We know roses are like the quintessential representation of Douglas and its history and spirit. And we're so excited to bring that back, that aspect of our city. Stay tuned over the next few months as we transform our City Hall landscaping into something beautiful and something very similar to what our residents fondly remember. So that's my first report. My second report is on the Gingerbread House Contest. Beginning on Monday, December 7th, the city has actually started a new tradition this year with the commencement of a Gingerbread House Contest. This is a wonderful and COVID-friendly way of celebrating the holiday season. Families, groups, and kids of all ages, big and little, so I'm looking at you guys so you can submit your houses, are invited to create a gingerbread masterpiece and submit it to our library between now and December 16th. The judging for this contest is occurring on the 17th, and the winners are going to be notified on the 18th. Prizes for the winners include gift cards. First prize is $150, second prize is $100, and third prize is $50. We're also going to be having submissions on display in City Hall, as well as in the library. The City Hall display will be viewable during our business hours, Monday through Friday, from 8:30 to 5, and on display in the windows at the library. That will be viewed all times of day. We'll have lighting there, so it'll be a beautiful thing to see, so we encourage everyone to come out and see it. The displays will be up through the Christmas holidays to ensure everyone has a chance to see it, and we're so excited to see all the amazing submissions we actually get as part of this new program. Thirdly and lastly, I wanted to give an update on our City Hall closure that we are contemplating and that we're moving forward with for December 28th through the 31st. As you know, COVID-19 has impacted all of our lives in one way or another. It's impacted our economy, our work lives, our personal lives, our physical, mental, and emotional health, and our financial health in some cases. And our employees have been with us through all these difficult times and worked diligently to continue to provide excellent service to our Douglas community. We really appreciate all of them for what they do in and out. And as a part of that appreciation for their quality service and hard work, and with your support, Mayor and Council, so I really thank you for that. All non-public safety city facilities will be closed from December 28th through the 31st in order to give our employees a much-deserved time off during the holidays. As normally observed, Friday, the Christmas Day, the 25th, and then Friday, January 1st, New Year's Day, will also be closed. City facilities will also be closed. So city facilities will reopen January 4th, which is a Monday. The services that, we obviously have services that need to continue. And those services that will continue through this closure will be police and fire, of course, EMS services, all available 24/7 as we expect. Sanitation for trash pickup will continue. Public transportation routes will continue. That's definitely a need in our community. And additionally, we have some services that will be on call basis as needed. So water shutoffs, turn-ons, sewer backups, if we have any, will obviously be taken care of. Animal control will also be out there taking care of the animals that are in the shelter that we have, and then funeral services will continue. just want to express to you just how thankful we are for your support as we give this, this special time for our employees to actually have time off, to reflect and then to come back in 2021, you know, more excited and greater to you know, combat the challenges of 2021. As we know, COVID is going to continue, and so this just gives them a little bit of a free from that, and just really appreciate it. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions or anything that the council would like to share.
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
Mayor?
Yes, please, Mr. Gonzalez.
I just wanted to say thank you to our staff, and also, you know, every time I walk down enter City Hall, it's Mr. Pedrosa's staff, you know, at the water department that's dealing with people, and, you know, sometimes we think that's just, you know, just doing their job, but like you said, Ms. Prince, they're putting themselves in the face of COVID, you know, possibilities every day, and the transit department also by providing these services. So thank you very much, and thank you very much to all our employees of much deserved well time off, and I guess we'll see them next year after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Anyone else? Thank you very much. Item number 19, adjournment. May I have a motion?
Mayor.
Yes, Mrs. Morales.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second? Second. Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Shelton to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? Thank you. Motion carries. We stand adjourned at 7:06 p.m. So, council members, remember we're going to record a little Christmas wish.